Hello everyone, welcome. This is the untold story of Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brainess. The love that started with promise and ended in prison. When Jasmine Pineda proposed marriage to Matt Brainess directly told her that he could not marry her. This led to a major argument between them. Eventually, they both made a heartbreaking decision. Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brainess officially separated. Later, a hidden truth was revealed. Matt Brainess had been cheating on Jasmine Pineda for the past year. He had deceived her and had secretly been in a romantic relationship with a young woman named Catherine for 1 year. Matt Brainess made her intentions clear. Greater than, I only want to marry Catherine. Many people claim to have seen Matt Brainess several times in different restaurants, but he was not alone. He was with his secret girlfriend, Catherine. The story did not end there. Jasmine Pineda alleged that Matt Brainess had borrowed $350,000 from her. However, he wasted all the borrowed money on online gambling. When Jasmine Pineda asked him to return the money, Matt Brainess denied ever borrowing it. In the end, Jasmine Pineda turned to the court. She filed a lawsuit against Matt Brainess, accusing him of embezzlement and defamation. The court sentenced Matt Brainess to 8 months in prison. Let's start from the beginning. Before the heartbreak, before the lawsuits, before the betrayal, there was love. And for Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brainess, it began in the most unexpected way. Jasmine, the fiery Panamanian beauty with a bold heart and sharp honesty, was already a familiar face to 90-Day Fiancé fans. She had lived through emotional storms before, a past filled with broken promises and the constant search for a partner who truly understood her. Matt Brainess entered her life through social media, a quiet, intelligent man from Michigan who claimed to see Jasmine beyond the cameras. He was everything she thought she wanted, stable, mature, and genuine. Their online connection quickly turned into late-night calls and messages that stretched until dawn. For the first time in years, Jasmine believed she had found someone who saw her heart, not her fame. When TLC introduced them on the show, their chemistry was undeniable. Jasmine's fiery passion met Matt's calm logic, a perfect blend of opposites. Fans adored their playful arguments, their cultural clashes, and the laughter that made every episode sparkle. Behind the scenes, though, things weren't always picture perfect. Matt's friends questioned whether Jasmine was too emotional. Jasmine's family worried that Matt wasn't fully transparent about his finances and past relationships. But love, as it often does, silenced every warning. When Matt flew to Panama to meet Jasmine in person for the first time, the world watched two souls collide. Their first meeting was tender, a hug that lasted too long, tears that spoke louder than words, and a promise that they'd make this love last no matter what. They traveled together, exploring the beaches of Bocas del Toro, laughing in local cafes, holding hands under tropical rain. Jasmine posted photos captioned, "Finally, my person." Matt replied with heart emojis and words like forever. But forever came too soon. The more time they spent together, the more cracks began to show. Matt struggled with Jasmine's jealousy. Jasmine fought against Matt's emotional distance. Still, both believed they could fix it, because in front of the cameras, they looked like the perfect couple. TLC producers called them the unexpected success story. Viewers believed wedding bells were near. No one, not even Jasmine, could imagine that just months later, that same man would reject her proposal, disappear into the arms of another woman, and eventually end up in court. Every fairy tale begins with love, but as Jasmine Pineda would soon learn, not every love story deserves a happy ending. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. After months of ups and downs, Jasmine Pineda decided to take control of her destiny. She had planned everything: the outfit, the setting, even the words she would say. She wanted to show Matt Brainess that her love was fearless. The location was a quiet rooftop restaurant overlooking Panama City. Golden lights reflected on the glass towers as the sun dipped below the horizon. A small film crew stood ready, cameras rolling to capture the moment fans had been waiting for. Jasmine's heart was pounding. She had rehearsed her proposal dozens of times in front of the mirror. Every detail mattered: the ring, the speech, the sincerity. When Matt arrived, he looked tired but calm. He didn't know what was coming. They shared a quiet dinner, laughter, wine, and nervous glances. Then Jasmine took a deep breath, stood up, and reached for the small red box in her purse. Greater than Matt, she began softly, "You've changed my life. I've never felt this close to anyone before. And today, I want to take the next step." She got down on one knee. The crowd at nearby tables began to clap. The cameras zoomed in as she opened the box, revealing a silver band engraved with both their initials. But instead of smiling, Matt froze. His face tightened. The room went silent. Even the music seemed to stop. "Greater than Jasmine, please, get up," he said under his breath. Her hands shook. "What do you mean?" Matt sighed, looking down at the floor. "Greater than, I can't do this. I can't marry you." The words felt like a blade. Tears welled up in Jasmine's eyes as she whispered, "Why?" But Matt didn't answer, not clearly, not honestly. He muttered something about needing more time and not being ready. To Jasmine, it felt like betrayal. To the audience, it felt like heartbreak. The cameras captured everything: the trembling of her lips, the sound of her crying, the stunned silence from the restaurant guests. That night, social media exploded. Fans were furious. Some blamed Jasmine for moving too fast. Others blamed Matt for humiliating her on television. But no one knew the truth: that Matt's hesitation wasn't about fear. It was about guilt. Because while Jasmine was dreaming of a future together, Matt had already built a secret life with someone else. A life that would soon destroy everything they had built, and everything Jasmine believed in. The night after the failed proposal, the streets of Panama City glimmered with lights, but for Jasmine Pineda, the world had gone dark. Her makeup had smudged from tears, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing, and her mind kept replaying the moment Matt said, "I can't marry you." She sat alone in her apartment, staring at her engagement ring box, the ring she had bought herself, the one that now symbolized rejection. Outside, rain hit the window like soft applause for a performance that had gone terribly wrong. For hours, she refused to speak to anyone. Producers called, friends texted, her sister begged her to come home, but Jasmine stayed silent. The confident, fiery woman the world knew from 90 Day Fiancé was gone, replaced by someone broken and confused. Meanwhile, Matt Brainis disappeared from the spotlight. He didn't post on social media, didn't respond to messages, didn't answer producers' calls. TLC executives tried to control the narrative, but fans had already taken over. Clips of the failed proposal flooded TikTok and YouTube. Millions watched Jasmine's trembling voice as she asked, "Why?" And millions more asked the same question online. Greater than, what did she do wrong? Why would Matt reject someone who loved him so deeply? Was it scripted, or was it real? Every theory spread like wildfire. Some claimed Matt got cold feet. Others insisted Jasmine pressured him. But a few observant fans noticed something strange. Just weeks before the proposal, Matt had been spotted dining with a mysterious woman in Chicago. At first, no one thought much of it, until that same woman started appearing in photos on his private accounts. Jasmine didn't see those pictures yet. All she knew was that the man she trusted had turned his back on her, publicly, brutally, and without remorse. 2 days later, she posted a short message on Instagram. Greater than, some stories end before they're meant to, but truth always finds a way. It went viral instantly. Support poured in from fans around the world. Hashtag Team Jasmine trended on social media, while Matt's pages were flooded with angry comments calling him coward, liar, and heartbreaker. For Jasmine, the pain was personal. But for the public, it became a spectacle, a digital storm of heartbreak and curiosity. Yet beneath all the noise, one question lingered, the same one haunting Jasmine every sleepless night. Was Matt hiding something? The answer would come soon. And when it did, it would shock everyone, even the producers who thought they'd seen it all. Long before Jasmine's proposal, long before the cameras captured her heartbreak, Matt Brainis, had already crossed a line he could never return from. It started innocently, or at least that's what he told himself. A message on Instagram from a young woman named Catherine, a 24-year-old art student from Chicago. She admired his role on 90 Day Fiancé, calling him honest and real. Matt responded casually at first, polite, reserved, nothing inappropriate. But then the messages became more frequent. Late-night conversations turned into video calls. Catherine listened when he complained about filming stress, about Jasmine's temper, about how misunderstood he felt. In her words, he found comfort. In her attention, he found escape. By the time Jasmine was planning romantic trips and talking about marriage, Matt was living a double life. He told Catherine she was the calm after the storm, the one who truly saw him. To Jasmine, he became distant, distracted during dinners, checking his phone constantly, and disappearing for work meetings that never seemed to end. Friends began to notice. One of Matt's co-workers recalled, greater than, he'd always smile when his phone buzzed, but if you asked about Jasmine, he'd change the subject. When the 90 Day Fiancé cameras stopped rolling for a break in filming, Matt took a secret trip to Chicago, supposedly to visit his family. In reality, he spent 4 days with Catherine. Photos later surfaced showing them at a restaurant downtown, her hand resting on his. At the time, no one connected the dots. Catherine knew he was in a relationship, but she believed his story, that things with Jasmine were basically over. Matt had become a master of half-truths. As months passed, his lies deepened. He created a second phone under a different number, used private accounts to message Catherine, and even rented an airman for their secret meetings whenever he traveled. To the world, Matt and Jasmine were still the 90 Day Fiancé couple fans rooted for. To Jasmine, he was the man she wanted to marry. But to Catherine, he was already taken by her. The irony? When Jasmine rehearsed her proposal, Matt was still texting Catherine under the table. He told her, "Don't worry, I'll take care of this soon." No one could have imagined what taking care of this truly meant. Because Matt wasn't just cheating, he was preparing to replace Jasmine entirely. For nearly a year, Matt Brainis lived a life built on contradiction, a love triangle hidden in plain sight. By day, he was the supportive boyfriend who appeared beside Jasmine on camera, smiling for fans and pretending everything was perfect. By night, he was whispering to Catherine, promising a future Jasmine could never imagine. It was a dangerous balancing act. Matt carefully timed his messages, deleted call logs, and made excuses for every late-night disappearance. He told Jasmine he was working overtime, but in reality, he was booking hotel rooms under fake names just to spend a few stolen hours with Catherine. To the outside world, he was composed and rational, a man tired of drama. But beneath that calm exterior, Matt was drowning in secrets. Catherine believed him completely. He told her Jasmine was emotionally unstable, that she used him for fame, and that he was just waiting for the right moment to end it. In Catherine's eyes, she wasn't the other woman, she was the woman he truly loved. Matt played his roles flawlessly. When he was with Jasmine, he spoke about commitment. When he was with Catherine, he spoke about freedom. He had mastered the art of deception so completely that even producers couldn't tell what was real anymore. But there were cracks, tiny moments when the truth slipped through. Once, during filming, Jasmine noticed a lipstick mark on his shirt. Matt brushed it off, saying it was from a friendly hug with a coworker. Another time, she saw unfamiliar perfume on his jacket. He blamed airport security checks. She wanted to believe him, because loving him felt easier than suspecting him. Behind the scenes, Matt started moving money, withdrawing large amounts from joint accounts and sending transfers Jasmine didn't understand. He told her he was investing in a new business idea. But the truth was far more reckless: gambling, secret gifts for Catherine, and expensive trips he couldn't explain. Friends began to whisper. One even warned Jasmine, saying, "Greater than, be careful, girl. Something about him doesn't add up." She laughed it off then, believing love could fix anything. But the illusion wouldn't last much longer. Because soon, The lies Matt had built so carefully would begin to crumble, and the truth, once revealed, would destroy everything he had left. It began with something small, something most people would overlook. A name. Just a name flashing on Matt's phone one night when he thought Jasmine was asleep. Catherine. Jasmine froze. For a moment, she tried to convince herself that it was innocent. A cousin, a co-worker, maybe a client. But her instincts told her otherwise. And Jasmine Pineda had learned long ago that when your heart whispers, you listen. The next morning, while Matt was in the shower, she did something she never thought she would do. She checked his phone. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through his hidden messages, through deleted chats and private photos restored from the cloud. And there it was, undeniable proof. Messages that began with "Good morning, beautiful." Photos of dinners, hotel rooms, long hugs, and captions that said, "Miss you already." Dates that stretched back almost a full year. Overlapping with the same time, Matt had been telling her, "I love you." Jasmine's breath caught in her throat. She felt sick, betrayed, and humiliated all at once. It was the beginning of Jasmine's rebirth, but behind that strength, she was still holding on to a painful truth, one that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with money. Because soon, she would reveal the biggest secret of all. Matt Bryness didn't just cheat, he stole. Heartbreak fades with time, but betrayal that costs you everything you own leaves a scar that never heals. After Matt's confession, Jasmine wanted nothing more than to erase him from her life. But just when she thought it couldn't get worse, she discovered a truth that made the pain unbearable. This time, it wasn't about love. It was about money, her money. It started when Jasmine's financial advisor called her one afternoon. He mentioned a series of large withdrawals from her joint business account, transactions authorized under her name, but completed by Matt. At first, she thought it was a mistake. She had never given Matt permission to access those funds. But when the documents arrived, her heart sank. Each withdrawal, each digital signature, matched her handwriting. Except it wasn't hers. It was forged. Jasmine sat in silence, flipping through the pages. The total amount shocked her. $350,000. Her memories started piecing together. Months earlier, Matt had told her he wanted to start a digital investment business. He said it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and promised that within a year, the returns would triple. Jasmine had believed him. She trusted him completely, even transferred a portion of her savings to help him get started. Now she realized it was all a lie. Digging deeper, Jasmine contacted one of Matt's old friends from Michigan. That's when the final piece of the puzzle fell into place. The friend revealed that Matt had been obsessed with online gambling for years. Sports betting, crypto casinos, poker tournaments, anything that promised quick money. Greater than he's been doing this for a long time, the friend confessed. He gets caught, says he's done, then starts again. The truth hit Jasmine like a storm. Matt hadn't invested a penny in business ventures. He had gambled away every single dollar, including her life savings. Jasmine confronted him over the phone, her voice trembling with rage. "Greater than you stole from me, Matt. You took my future and threw it away." Matt's reply was cold, defensive, and cruel. "Greater than I didn't steal anything. You gave it to me, and you can't prove otherwise." That sentence replayed in her mind for days. The arrogance, the audacity, the lack of guilt. Jasmine's grief turned into fire. For the first time since the breakup, she stopped crying and started fighting. She gathered every bank record, every email, every message. She contacted lawyers, financial investigators, and even the producers of 90 Day Fiancé. She wasn't just a scorned woman anymore. She was a survivor preparing for justice. And when she stepped into that courtroom months later, she wasn't walking in as Matt's ex. She was walking in as the woman who was about to expose him to the entire world. The lawsuit against Matt Bryness hit social media like an earthquake. Headlines screamed across entertainment sites. Greater than 90 Day Fiancé star Jasmine Pineda accuses ex of stealing $350,000. Matt Bryness under fire for fraud and betrayal. Within hours, fans flooded comment sections with outrage. Some demanded justice. Others couldn't believe that the quiet, composed man they'd seen on TV could commit such a crime. But behind the chaos of public opinion, a different battle had begun. One inside the courtroom. When served with the lawsuit, Matt's reaction was immediate and arrogant. He laughed. He told friends it was a publicity stunt, a desperate attempt by Jasmine to stay relevant. Then he went online. Matt released a statement on his personal social media page. Greater than, I never borrowed a cent from Jasmine. Any money exchanged was a gift, nothing more. These accusations are false, hurtful, and defamatory. The post spread quickly, gaining thousands of likes, mostly from supporters who still believed his calm image. But Jasmine wasn't staying silent anymore. She replied with hard proof, screenshots of transactions, voice notes, and text messages where Matt explicitly asked for money and promised to return it. In one message, he had written, "Greater than baby, just $40,000 more, and I can finish the investment cycle. You'll get it all back next month." Now, the world knew who was lying. When the case went to preliminary hearing, Matt's defense team tried to discredit Jasmine. They painted her as emotional, unstable, and manipulative, claiming she misunderstood the financial arrangements. They even implied that she fabricated evidence for attention. But Jasmine came prepared. Her lawyers presented a timeline of bank records showing the transfers, and digital experts confirmed the forged signatures. She also produced a recorded phone call, one she had saved from months earlier, where Matt admitted he had used part of her money for gambling purposes. That single recording changed everything. The judge's tone shifted. The courtroom fell silent. Matt's confident smirk faded as the reality of his actions unfolded in public view. Still, he refused to admit guilt. He sat stiffly in his chair, whispering to his attorney, shaking his head each time Jasmine's name was mentioned. Even as evidence piled up, he doubled down on his lies. He insisted Jasmine had consented, that she was trying to ruin his reputation, that he was the real victim. But the truth doesn't bend forever. By the end of the second hearing, even the public had started turning against him. The hashtag Justice for Jasmine began trending worldwide. Fans who once supported Matt deleted their comments. Sponsors began pulling away. Matt had built his image on charm and control. But now, he was facing something he couldn't manipulate. The truth. And soon, that truth would take him from the bright lights of reality TV to the cold walls of a prison cell. It was surreal, seeing their names side by side on a court docket instead of a TV screen. Just months earlier, Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brightness had been reality TV's favorite couple, the emotional, fiery Panamanian and the quiet, logical American. Now, they were plaintiff and defendant, facing each other across a courtroom instead of a dinner table. The air inside the courthouse was tense. Fans gathered outside with signs, some supporting Jasmine, others demanding the truth. Reporters filled every seat, cameras ready to catch a single glance or expression that might make headlines. Jasmine arrived in a cream-colored suit, calm, composed, but visibly emotional. Matt entered moments later, escorted by his lawyer, wearing a gray suit and a face that revealed nothing. They didn't look at each other. Too much had been said, too much had been lost. The trial began with opening statements that felt more like theater than law. Jasmine's attorney described Matt as a man who exploited love for personal gain, presenting him as a manipulator who used Jasmine's trust to fund his gambling addiction. Matt's attorney countered by painting Jasmine as vengeful, fame-driven, and emotionally unstable. But when the evidence started rolling in, the narrative shifted. Transaction records showed $350,000 leaving Jasmine's account over a 10-month period. Emails and messages revealed promises of repayment, and even screenshots of Matt bragging about high-stakes wins in online betting groups. Then came the witnesses. A former friend of Matt testified that he had once confessed, "Greater than, if Jasmine finds out about the money, I'm done." Another witness, a hotel employee from Chicago, recognized photos of Matt and Catherine. She confirmed they had checked in together multiple times under different names. As the days passed, the courtroom transformed into a stage of reckoning. Jasmine held her composure, answering questions clearly and calmly. Matt, on the other hand, grew defensive, interrupting, sighing, shaking his head, and glaring at the cameras whenever journalists took photos. The public followed every update obsessively. TLC viewers who had once adored the couple now watched the trial like a tragic sequel, one no one had asked for but couldn't look away from. By week 3, Matt's credibility was falling apart. His lawyer tried to settle privately, but Jasmine refused. She wanted justice, not compromise. During cross-examination, her lawyer asked the question that broke the last thread of his defense. Greater than Mr. Brenes, if Jasmine had not filed this lawsuit, would you have ever paid her back? There was silence. Matt looked down, eyes darting. Finally, he muttered, greater than probably not. The courtroom gasped. That single sentence sealed his fate. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about betrayal, integrity, and the price of deceit. And soon, the verdict would turn their love story into a legal legend, one that no reality show could ever script. By the time the trial reached its final days, the courtroom had become a war zone of emotions, a place where love, betrayal, and justice collided. Every seat was filled. Journalists lined the walls, scribbling notes, cameras waiting to capture history in real time. This wasn't just another celebrity scandal anymore. It was a story of trust destroyed and truth revealed. Jasmine sat at the plaintiff's table, poised but visibly exhausted. Her eyes told a story that words couldn't. Months of sleepless nights, humiliation, and the weight of a love that turned into a nightmare. Across from her sat Matt, once the man she called her soulmate, now her opponent. He looked pale, worn out, his arrogance replaced by quiet dread. The judge entered, commanding silence. Everyone knew the verdict was close. But before that, the last round of testimonies would decide everything. The first to testify was Jasmine herself. She spoke slowly, her voice trembling yet steady enough to pierce through the courtroom's tension. Greater than, I didn't just lose money, she said, looking directly at the judge. I lost my peace. I lost trust in myself, in my ability to believe in someone again. Her attorney displayed printed evidence of every transfer, every message, every broken promise. The words "I'll pay you back soon, baby" appeared on the screen. The courtroom fell silent. When it was Matt's turn, his lawyer tried to frame him as a man overwhelmed by emotional manipulation. But that strategy collapsed under cross-examination. Jasmine's lawyer presented gambling transaction receipts linked to Matt's account, showing the same dates and amounts that matched the missing funds. Then came the most devastating evidence, a series of online chats retrieved by forensic experts, where Matt bragged to friends about his lucky streaks using borrowed love money. Gasps filled the room. Even Matt's attorney looked defeated. Still, Matt tried to defend himself. He stood up, his voice breaking, and said, "Greater than, I never meant to hurt Jasmine. I was just trying to get ahead. I thought I could win it all back." But his words fell flat. No one believed him anymore. Then the judge leaned forward, eyes sharp and voice calm. "Greater than, Mr. Brenes," he said, "you weren't trying to win back money. You were trying to win time. Time to keep lying." Matt dropped his gaze. When closing statements ended, Jasmine's lawyer summarized it best. "Greater than, this isn't just financial theft. This is emotional fraud. He gambled with her heart and lost." The judge adjourned the court until sentencing day. As Jasmine walked out, reporters shouted questions, flashes blinding her every step. But she didn't say a word. She didn't need to. For the first time in a long while, her silence spoke louder than his lies. The world had seen enough. And what came next would change everything for Matt Brenes, forever. The day of sentencing arrived under gray skies, fitting for the end of a story that had gone from romance to ruin. Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed and microphones crowded the steps. News outlets from both the US and Panama covered it live. Fans waited behind barricades, holding posters that read "Justice for Jasmine" and "No more lies." Inside, the atmosphere was electric, silent, but charged with anticipation. Jasmine sat quietly beside her attorney, wearing a simple white dress. Her face was calm, but her hands trembled slightly in her lap. After months of emotional torture, this was the moment she had been waiting for, not out of revenge, but for closure. Matt entered moments later, escorted by officers. The confident man who once smirked through interviews was gone. His hair was disheveled, his eyes sunken, and his hands were cuffed in front of him. Even the courtroom seemed to sense that the mask had finally fallen. The judge began reading the decision, his tone steady and deliberate. He recounted the evidence, the forged signatures, the gambling losses, the lies that spanned over a year. He acknowledged Jasmine's courage in coming forward despite public scrutiny. Greater than this court, the judge said firmly, finds that the defendant, Mr. Brightness, intentionally deceived, defrauded, and defamed Ms. Pineda. The pattern of manipulation was systematic and deliberate. Matt's lawyer tried one last time to appeal for leniency, citing his mental strain and public humiliation. But the judge wasn't swayed. Greater than embarrassment, he said, is not punishment, it is consequence. The entire room went silent as the sentence was read. 8 months in prison and full restitution of $350,000 to Jasmine Pineda. Matt's body slumped. His lawyer closed his eyes in defeat. A murmur rippled through the courtroom, a mix of gasps, whispers, and sighs of relief. Jasmine didn't smile. She simply nodded, tears filling her eyes, not from joy, but from release. After so many sleepless nights, she could finally breathe again. As officers escorted Matt out, he turned briefly toward her. For a split second, their eyes met. Two souls who had once believed in forever, now separated by betrayal and bars. He'd opened his mouth as if to speak, but the guards led him away before he could say a word. Outside, reporters swarmed Jasmine, shouting questions. She paused, took a deep breath, and said softly, "Greater than, I didn't win. The truth did." That one sentence became the headline across the world. The story of Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brightness was no longer just a scandal. It was a warning, a symbol, and a reminder that even love can have a breaking point. The months following the sentencing felt like stepping into sunlight after a long, endless storm. For the first time in almost 2 years, Jasmine Pineda could wake up without anxiety clawing at her chest. There were no more lawyers to call, no more statements to prepare, no more lies to uncover. Just peace, fragile, quiet, and long overdue. Still, healing didn't happen overnight. Fame had made her heartbreak public, and the internet never forgets. Every time she opened her phone, she saw old clips of her proposal, headlines about the trial, or fans tagging her in sympathy posts. It was exhausting, but it also became her motivation. Instead of hiding, Jasmine chose to own her story. She sat down with a major talk show host for her first full interview after the trial. Dressed in soft pastels, she spoke with grace and strength, not as a victim, but as a survivor. "Greater than people think losing money is the hardest part," she said calmly. "But losing yourself, that's what really breaks you. I had to remember who I was before the cameras, before the lies, before Matt." The interview went viral, gathering millions of views in days. Fans flooded the comments with messages of admiration and support. Some even called her the strongest woman in the 90-day universe. Behind the scenes, Jasmine began rebuilding her life. She focused on her fitness and launched a wellness brand promoting emotional healing after toxic relationships. Her slogan was simple but powerful: "Greater than heal loud, love louder." She also became an advocate for financial awareness, warning women not to surrender control of their finances, no matter how much they trust their partner. It was her way of turning pain into purpose. Her friends noticed the change. The fiery, impulsive Jasmine, who once led with her heart, now carried wisdom in her silence. She wasn't bitter, she was free. Meanwhile, Matt's name disappeared from headlines. After his prison term began, Even his social media accounts went dark. For Jasmine, that absence was its own kind of closure. She no longer needed to hear his apologies or explanations. The universe had already written its own justice. One evening, Jasmine visited the same rooftop where she had once proposed to him. The city lights sparkled below, the same way they had on that fateful night. But this time, her heart was calm. She stood there quietly and whispered to herself, "Greater than you didn't lose, Jasmine. You learned." In that moment, the past finally loosened its grip. Her tears were no longer of pain. They were of peace. Jasmine's redemption wasn't about revenge or fame. It was about reclaiming her voice. The voice Matt had tried to silence, but never could. When the steel doors closed behind Matt Brightness, the silence was deafening. No camera crews, no makeup artists, no producers calling for another take. Just the sound of footsteps echoing against concrete, the soundtrack of his new reality. At first, he tried to keep his pride. He told the guards he was famous, that this was all a misunderstanding. But in prison, fame means nothing. Everyone is just another name, another number. The first few weeks were the hardest. He struggled to adjust, the early wake-ups, the shared cells, the constant noise. He spent most of his time in isolation, avoiding others, replaying the same memories that had once made him feel powerful. Now, they only brought regret. Every day at mealtime, he sat alone, pushing food around his tray, thinking about how easily he had traded love for greed. The phone privileges he once used to text Catherine or gamble online were replaced by a short, monitored call list. And Catherine? She never answered. 2 weeks after his sentence began, Catherine publicly announced her breakup with Matt on social media. Her post was short, emotionless, and final. Greater than sometimes, the truth comes too late. I wish him healing, but I'm moving on. It spread across gossip pages within minutes. For the first time, Matt realized he was truly alone. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The quiet gave him too much time to think about Jasmine's face when he rejected her, about the lies he told, about the night she found out. He replayed every moment in his mind, trying to find the one where he could have stopped himself. But that moment had vanished long ago. Inside, he began attending rehabilitation sessions for gambling addiction, partly by court order, partly because he finally wanted to understand himself. He confessed during one group therapy meeting, "I thought money could fix everything. I thought winning made me worthy. But all I did was lose. Myself, everything." For the first time in years, those words weren't a performance. They were truth. Meanwhile, outside the walls, Jasmine's life blossomed. She continued her advocacy work and was praised for her grace in handling the ordeal. Every headline that once paired their names now told two very different stories. Jasmine Pineda, empowered and thriving. Matt Brightness, serving time and seeking redemption. By the time his 8 months ended, the world had moved on. TLC had dropped his name from future shows. Sponsors were gone. Catherine had vanished from his life completely. When Matt finally stepped out of prison, there were no cameras waiting, only quiet rain and an empty street. He looked up at the gray sky and whispered to himself, "Greater than freedom feels different when you don't deserve it." For Jasmine, it was closure. For Matt, it was the start of a long road toward repentance. But for the world, it was a cautionary tale, a reminder that love built on lies always collapses, and that truth, no matter how late, always wins. As the credits of this real-life heartbreak roll in our minds, one question still lingers. Was it fate, or was it a warning? The story of Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brightness began as a fairy tale written under studio lights. Two strangers from different worlds brought together by hope, fame, and the promise of forever. But what began as romance became a battlefield of betrayal, money, and lies. She offered her heart. He gambled it away. She dreamed of marriage. He planned an escape. And when the truth came crashing down, it was Jasmine who stood tall, while Matt watched his empire crumble. Today, Jasmine walks through life not as the woman who was broken, but as the woman who refused to stay broken. Her laughter has returned. softer, wiser, touched by pain, but not defined by it. Her name, once attached to scandal, now symbolizes strength. She's the proof that you can lose everything and still rise higher than before. But what about Matt? He walks through freedom's gate with the weight of regret pressing on his shoulders. No fans waiting, no applause, just silence. He once said he wanted to win it all back, but how do you win back trust when you've already bet it all on deceit? Does he think about Jasmine when he closes his eyes? Does he wonder what might have been if he had chosen honesty over ego? No one knows, and maybe that's the truest punishment of all. And Catherine, the woman who once stood in the shadows, she vanished just as quickly as she appeared. Was she ever truly in love, or was she another piece in Matt's endless game? Did she find peace, or just another illusion of it? Life moves on, but stories like this never fade. They live in whispers, in lessons, in the hearts of people who once believed that love was enough to save someone. So now, dear viewer, the question turns to you. Would you forgive someone who betrayed not just your heart, but your trust? If the person you loved most turned your love into a lie, could you ever love again? And when love costs you everything, what's the real price of forgiveness? Perhaps Jasmine's story isn't just hers. Perhaps it's a mirror for all of us. A reminder that love is not measured by what we give, but by what we protect. And sometimes, walking away is the bravest kind of love there is. Because in the end, Jasmine didn't need Matt to complete her story. She needed the truth to set her free. So, as we close this chapter, one question remains. Greater than will Jasmine ever trust again? Or has love taught her never to believe in forever? More update. 90-day fiancé. Matt regrets signing up for an open relationship with Jasmine. Fans think he should run. And Jasmine and Matt met a divorce lawyer to discuss Gino's marriage fraud accusations and ended up discovering something scary. Jasmine demands $916 million from Gino for wife services. Fans think she's not charging enough. Matt proves his love for Jasmine, shaves his head on camera to twin with her bold look. I will explain everything. 90-day fiancé. Matt regrets signing up for an open relationship with Jasmine. Fans think he should run. It appears like 90-day fiancé star Matt Branius is having second thoughts about his decision on HEA. It is highly probable that he has noticed the warning signs in Jasmine Pineda and uncovered her true intention. The TLC star approached the latter, accusing her of putting her divorce from Gino on the back burner. Because she is so naive, Matt has been so close to separating from his daughter. Prior to beginning her new life with Matt, Jasmine neglected to prioritize getting a divorce and cleaning up the mess. The unintended effects of her careless decisions on her unborn child were never in her mind. The reality TV personality uprooted her life and settled in Florida. But her bewildering actions have left Matt unsure of their future together. Does he feel remorse? What was his message? Gino Palazzolo accused 90-day fiancé star Jasmine Pineda of marital fraud, and Pineda couldn't believe it. After spending over $70,000 on her, the latter has been demanding payment from his ex. Therefore, Matt told Jasmine how disappointed he was that she hadn't made getting a divorce a top priority. To help Jasmine with her legal problems, he met with a lawyer named Oxalis. Nonetheless, the TLC star was astounded that Gino could deport Jasmine and claim his daughter. As Oxalis indicated, the state of Florida will recognize Palazzolo as the biological father of the child and remove her from the country. You would be deported if Gino can prove the marriage was a fraud, she said. Like a spoiled apple, Jasmine couldn't believe she would be deported from America. There was no way she could fix things on her own. For some reason, Matt Branius has no idea what Jasmine is really up to. The thought that their unborn child's future was in jeopardy as a result of her bad choice in life shocked him. Following his meeting with the attorney, the TLC star approached his baby mama. Why isn't consulting the attorney regarding Gino's divorce the top priority? Matt inquired. In response to her partner's question, Jasmine shot him a death gaze and kept eating. The words, "It is not easy, Matt," were her last confession. "Moving with you has kept me quite busy, and now I'm pregnant." But Matt wasn't emotionally prepared to let Jasmine manipulate him. After the attorney gave her the all-ahead to file for a divorce, he was curious as to what might possibly go wrong. The 90-Day Fiancé actor admitted that he was originally planning on keeping things open. Matt, on the other hand, thinks things are different today and has been shouldering all the blame. Gino, he said, has been out of sight. If the attorney gives them the go light, he believes Pineda should begin the procedure. The reality TV star had no interest in being with a married woman or having a family. A number of fans voiced their opinion that Matt should just escape the drama. "Wake up, Matt, run," exclaimed one admirer. Someone else thinks Jasmine is trying to figure out how to receive child support money from Gino. Since Matt is the one who chose to live this life, some people don't see him as a victim. Jasmine and Matt met a divorce lawyer to discuss Gino's marriage fraud accusations and ended up discovering something scary. In order to save their unborn kid, Jasmine Pineda and Matt Branistarianu, stars of 90-Day Fiancé, are acting independently. They aren't prepared to let Gino break them up and ruin their lives. In order to address the fallout from Gino's immigration office complaint, the TLC stars opted to consult with an attorney. Matt confided in Jasmine his concerns regarding his future. The deportation of Jasmine to Panama was threatened by Gino. Her supposed marital fraud was another reason he went to ICE with a complaint. So, Jasmine is scared to have a girl without Matt. Unfortunately, she got some unexpected news regarding her legal matters. How did that happen? Is there any chance she can rescue herself? Who knows what Matt will do? To get to the bottom of things, keep reading. Before Jasmine Pineda and Matt started a family, the star of 90-Day Fiancé never gave her tumultuous relationship any thought. In the hopes of a simpler life, she and her new partner relocated to Florida. Just yet, Gino isn't prepared to sit on his hands while she has children with another guy. She was accused of marital fraud when he phoned her. He tallied up all the money he had spent on her before, the American. The costs of the wedding, Jasmine's Panamanian rent, the paperwork for her green card, and the K-1 visa application were all covered by Palazzolo. After deducting the costs of the lawyer, he wanted her to pay him more than $70,000 for all of his services. Furthermore, the reality TV personality has gone to the immigration office in an effort to have her deported in the event that she refuses to pay the money. The lives of Jasmine and Matt were completely upended by Gino Palazzolo's caustic letter. They made the executive decision to meet with the divorce attorney immediately in order to clear the air. Matt told Jasmine how disappointed he was that she hadn't made getting a divorce a top priority. He has long advised her to formally divorce her marriage. "I want to see Jasmine's divorce decree before I bring her to meet my mom," the Romanian star said. Also, Jasmine told her baby daddy she was sorry she had to put it off. She planned to consult an attorney about the matter after gathering all the necessary paperwork and evidence. Oxalis, the attorney, was astounded that the 90-Day Fiancé celebrity waited so long to clean up after herself. According to what she informed Jasmine, Gino would be recognized as the biological father by the court. If she does not file for a divorce with her ex-husband before the kid is born, the law in Florida will presume he is the father, according to Oxalis. If Gino can prove that the marriage was a fraud, you would be deported, she continued. Jasmine was shocked that she would be treated like a spoiled apple and expelled from the nation. "I am unsure of how to resolve this at the present time," she said. The reality TV actress fought back tears after hearing the terrifying news, but she was determined to keep her strength. But Matt chose to stand by Jasmine through thick and thin so they could secure a bright future for their kid. Since Jasmine is still in the United States and they are co-parenting their daughter, it seems like he kept his promise. Jasmine demands $916 million from Gino for wife services. Fans think she's not charging enough. Jasmine Pineda, star of 90-Day Fiancé, is trying to hold back her emotions after Gino's cold-hearted actions on HEA. Following his request for more than $70,000 in wife services, she is now suing for the monies. The TLC star is determined to finally put this matter to rest. The show's nasty message from Gino prompted Jasmine to finally respond with a wonderful idea. All the work, time, and effort she put in while staying with him should be repaid, in her opinion. This reality TV star has no fear of deportation to Panama. Gino wants her to repay him for everything he spent on her since she dumped him for Matt. The supporters, though, are sick and tired of Gino's whiny demeanor. Now what does Gino have to do? Jasmine, is she for real? Jasmine Pineda, star of 90 Day Fiancé, and her husband Matt put establishing a family ahead of getting a divorce. In search of a life free of drama, she and her baby daddy relocated to Florida. The TLC star, though, just can't seem to kick her bad habits. Gino demanded the $70,000 he had paid for Jasmine by calling her. Additionally, he asserted that he lodged a complaint regarding her with the immigration office. Jasmine confided in Michelle, who was her ex-sister-in-law, over the phone. The fear of deportation caused her to break down in tears. To get some answers, Matt visited a lawyer's office. The attorney informed Jasmine that, according to Florida law, Gino is the rightful parent of the child. She would be torn apart from her child if he were to claim the infant as his own. Even in the midst of a crisis, Jasmine Pineda understands how to keep her fans entertained. Her fear of deportation persists. On the other hand, the TLC star is a master of retaliation. A recent occurrence had the TLC diva slamming Gino with her trademark wit and sarcasm. Pineda accused him of taking advantage of his wife's status by listing all the things she had done for him. She referred to it as a wife services invoice and included a number of things, including $4 million for cleaning up after him, arranging his disorganized belongings, and rescuing his sick plants from the toilet. For handling his infidelity, Jasmine wanted Gino to pay her $1 million. For forgiving his infidelity, she wanted $2 million, and for getting her fired from her job, she wanted $50 million. Despite his obnoxious voice and her deliberate decision not to include her children on the K-1 visa, she nevertheless brought up the topic of large sums of money. After dealing with him, she asked him to compensate her and her dog for therapy. After adding up all the costs associated with her marriage, the 90 Day Fiancé star came up with a total of more than $916 million. A blogger named 90 Day Fiancé _Alexa revealed Jasmine's clever reply to Gino's bill. The audience adored Jasmine's vengeful reaction as she shamed her ex for kissing her face. A supporter exclaimed, "This is awesome. She should be charging more." The fact that Jasmine omitted the cost of licking Gino's moist toes was pointed up by another user. Due to the emotional abuse she endured in her marriage, they believe she should seek compensation in a larger amount. Matt proves his love for Jasmine, shaves his head on camera to twin with her bold look. Matt Brightness, star of 90 Day Fiancé, is showing the world how much he loves with his deeds. He shaved his head not long ago, taking the leap on his own. But why was this even necessary? After Jasmine Pineda shaved her head, Matt wanted to mimic her new bold style. And that's not all either. Matt upped the dramatic factor by shaving his head in front of his audience. Jasmine Pineda uploaded the full video, and many can't stop staring in disbelief. However, here we reach the crux of the matter. I never understood why Jasmine chopped off her hair. Where is she at? Just what is going on here? Read on to find out who this bold pair is. Additionally, Jasmine Pineda had previously opened up to her 90 Day Fiancé audience about her battle with alopecia. Her hair loss was accelerated throughout her postpartum trimester. This led the famous person to finally chop off all of her hair. Pineda elaborated on how she feels helpless because her immune system mistakenly targets her hair. This explains why factors like stress and the time immediately following giving birth exacerbated the problem. It turned out to be about more than just her hair, Jasmine admitted. The primary focus was on her physiological responses to the numerous stresses she was experiencing. So, she chopped off all of her hair to show off her new blonde style. Matt, though, seemed to be on her side now. After seeing Jasmine Pineda's latest Instagram post, 90 Day Fiancé viewers are still in shock. She uploaded a video showing Matt with a pink handheld mirror and a razor held aloft in front of a mirror. He bravely shaved his head in front of the camera, apparently. What Matt really wanted to do was express his support for Jasmine. He had no interest in following any particular trend. Jasmine confessed in the post that she never dreamed she would feel love and caring from Matt the way she does. She elaborated on her shock that he offered to help her out in this way. Brannies, on the other hand, wanted Pineda to see that she was stunning hair or no hair. He thus eliminated them as well. For all the correct reasons, this one incident has been winning over internet users' hearts. Many viewers were grateful to Matt for supporting Jasmine and speaking out for her. According to Michelle Boyce Palazzolo, Gino's sister-in-law, Matt's gesture was so sweet, and your new look is stunning. Heart emojis were also included by Courtney. Someone else added, the buzzed cut looks great on you both. Someone another said, Jasmine, you must love him deeply. He is genuine. Thus, it's clear that fans are adoring Matt and Jasmine's romance and lauding Matt for his bravery. Also, were you a fan of their revamped style? Please inform us by using the comment area. No more today? What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.